can always count on Jacksonville. What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. The Houston Texans finally do it. They got their first win of the season by defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars 13-6. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down, but before we get in there, like I've been telling you before, if you're liking the content, man, hey, make sure you liking the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you watching all the videos. You comment on all the videos. You sharing all the videos on all social media platforms. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, any type of social media platform you use. Make sure you share it on them same social media platforms. Also, follow your boy on social media. The links in the description below. Also, we giving away 30 days free at Amazon Prime. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, you're tripping. November 3rd, the Houston Texans are facing the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football. NFL Prime, Amazon Prime. The link is in the description right now. So if you don't have it, you trip it. You sleep. You hit that link in the description, you get a free 30 days. Free 30 days. So hit that link in the description. Get your free 30 days. Like I say, follow me on social media. The links in the description below. Like I say, like the channel, comment on the channel, subscribe to the channel. Let's get the channel growing and growing and growing. I really, really appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate that. Now, like I said, let's talk about, because the Houston Texans, they got a victory today. They defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars, like I said, 13-6. Davis Mills was 16 of 24 for 66.7% completion percentage, with 140 yards, averaging 5.8 yards per attempt. Also had no touchdowns, no picks, had quarterback rating of 81.9. Dameon Pierce had 26 rushes for 99 yards for 1 touchdown, averaging 3.8 yards per carry. That's kind of because of how they start running towards the end, but those were real tough yards. Nico Collins, even though last week he had more yards, might have been one of his best games. Targeted 6 times, 4 catches for 65 yards. Akins was targeted twice, had 2 catches for 22 yards. Brandon Cooks was targeted 6 times, had 4 catches for 20 yards. And on Jacksonville side, Trevor Lawrence was 25 of 47 for 53.2 completion percentage, 286 yards, averaging 6.1 yards per attempt. No touchdowns, had 2 picks. Had a quarterback rating of 54. Travis Etienne had 10 rushes for 71 yards. Trevor Lawrence carried the ball 4 times, had 29 yards. James Robinson only carried the ball 10 times, had 27 yards. Marvin Jones was targeted 11 times, had 7 catches for 104 yards. Ingram had 10 targets for 6 catches for 69 yards. 69 yards. I'm sorry. Travis Etienne was targeted 5 times, had 3 catches for 43 yards. Like I say, the score was 13-6. Dameon Pierce was the only touchdown in the game. If you wasn't a Texan fan or a Jags fan, obviously, this game was not worth watching. It was a very pedestrian game. It was not a good football game whatsoever. Like, none whatsoever. It wasn't a good football game. It was pedestrian quarterback play at best. Like I said, Davis Mills might have completed 60%, over 65% of his completions, but he only had 104 yards. Very pedestrian. Like I said, only averaging 5.8 yards per attempt. Do you know at halftime, Dameon Pierce averaged more yards per carry than your quarterback averaged per attempt? That's how pedestrian it was. And like I say, Trevor Lawrence did not have a good game as well. Like I said, under 55% completion percentage, horrible. 2 turnovers. Even though one of them was on, like, just trying to throw it up and try to get the ball in the end zone. And Desmond King got the interception. Darius Stingley had a heads-up play with his first career interception. We're gonna talk about that because, but just not good play from Trevor Lawrence. And I'm waiting to see this transitional, once-in-a-lifetime generation player. Remember, this guy going into the draft 2 years ago had the highest grade of a quarterback since John Elway and Andrew Luck. John Elway has the highest grade of all time going to a draft. Andrew Luck is number 2. Trevor Lawrence is number 3, supposedly. I said it before the draft. I wasn't high on Trevor Lawrence. I was actually happy Jacksonville was getting Trevor Lawrence because I wasn't high and wasn't sold on Trevor Lawrence when I watched at Clemson. And he has done nothing in the NFL but to prove me right. No matter how we feel about Davis Mills, I'd rather be a Texan fan right now in the Texan position, because Davis Mills, you can move on from Davis Mills. He's a 3rd round pick. You can move on from him. You can't move on from Trevor Lawrence just yet. Now, after next year, you got to his 3rd year, you could, but not right now. and they don't have to draft. Because at least the Texans do have multiple draft picks to be able to maneuver and do things like that. We'll talk about that later. But Jacksonville, as of right now, are stuck. They really are really what they are right now. They got to get pieces around him to see if it works and hope that it works. I don't think it's going to work. I think they've won games this year in spite of him, and they really should have won today's game. And he's one of the reasons why they didn't win. Because this game, like I said, was a bad game, boils down to 3 plays. 3 key crucial plays of this game what swung the game, won the game, and cemented the game for the Houston Texans. The first play, the play that swung the game was involving Trevor Lawrence, was the Darius Stingley pick. Was a bad play by Trevor Lawrence. Don't know why he was throwing the football the way he was throwing it, but the heads up play by Darius Stingley. Darius Stingley baited Trevor Lawrence. He abandoned his own. See, it's funny that both Darius Stingley and Sauce Gardner, who were back-to-back picks, got back-to-back picks. Like they were pick 3 and pick 4, and then they got their interceptions. They both got their first career picks like within like the span of 10 minutes of each other. Like so basically the span of one getting drafted to the next back in April. This is the exact same span of one getting their first career pick to the next in the game. Even though they're playing on obviously two different time zones, but you get what I'm trying to say. But what I'm saying is this: Darius Stingley. What makes Darius Stingley so intriguing as a prospect and what makes him a potential great player was the things that he did in today's game. The way he baited Trevor Lawrence into the pick. He abandoned his own because he was actually supposed to come down. I think, I don't know if that was Robinson or if it was Travis Etienne, but he was supposed to come down. He noticed, he looked at Jones, the way Jones was coming across. He watched him and watched him heads up play because he seen how he was coming and he seen how Trevor Lawrence was running out and knowing where Trevor Lawrence was going to go. And also knows how Trevor Lawrence has been throwing footballs in today's game very, very high. He throws all his passes like he's throwing to 8-foot tall receivers. Like he's just lining, driving balls up there like he's throwing the 8-foot pass receiver. So he knows, okay, hey, this ball is going to be a ball that's going to be thrown up high. It's going to be out of reach. I'm going to abandon this zone and make a play. I'm going to trust my instincts. I'm going to trust my talent. I'm going to bait him into this. Boom, I got you. Jumps up, catches the interception, which was on Jacksonville's best drive, by the way. That was Jacksonville's best chance to actually get points, actually get a touchdown in that game. That was their best drive of the whole game, and ended up getting nothing. Got a pick in the end zone. Now Darius Stingley got to do better of coming out. He could have had a touchback. He came out. I think the ball got stopped on the 2 or the 3. And the Texans actually made some money. The Texans actually got out of danger. It wasn't like they got a safety. The Texans were able to move a little bit out of that situation. But that play right there was the play that swung because, like I said, it ended Jacksonville's chances of getting points. Jacksonville's best chance of getting points. Darius Stingley heads up play was able to do it. Now the play that actually won the game for the Texans, in my opinion, is Walker, Travis Walker. 1, jumping off sides, and then 2, getting a rough in the passer pin. Just a complete utter boneheaded play. Just a complete, utter boneheaded play. Just a stupid play. And the Texans were on 3rd down, 3rd and 10. They weren't probably going to move the ball. They were probably going to punt and give at the time the game was tied 6-6. Able to give the ball back to Jacksonville, and who knows, Jacksonville may be able to get a field goal. We might be talking about a Texans loss 9-6. That's probably what ended up happening because the Texans were dead in the water at that point. But that play ignited them and woke them up. And now the Texans, we've been on the bad side of this twice in the same year when it comes to with Clowney back in 2018. Remember the game he didn't play against the Titans? He had an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the sideline by yelling at one of the Titan receivers or players or whatever, extended their drive. They was able to get a field goal, turn a 1-point lead to a 4-point lead. Now the Texans got the ball less than a minute left, and Deshaun Watson had to try to get a touchdown, let alone get field goal range. Wasn't able to do it. And then later on that season against the Philadelphia Eagles, up by I think 1 or 2 or something like that. He gets a rough in the passing call on Nick Foles that extended the drive because it was 3rd down incompletion that would have ended the game. because the Texans would have got the ball back in the game. They extended the drive, got them in the field goal range. They kicked the game, win the field goal. Texans lose to the Eagles. That was their chance of actually being the number 2 seed in their playoffs. End up being the 3rd seed, losing to the Colts in the wild card round. We already know how that movie went. So we on the bad side of this. This was the Texans being on the good side of it, and just a bad play by Walker, and just as not play. He shouldn't have played the rest of the game. If I'm Doug Peterson, he's not playing the rest of the game because you've cost me the game. You will have to sit on the sideline and watch this. Sit on the sideline and watch this because this is your fault. What's about to happen is your fault. And then the play, I think, like I said, that's the play that won the game, in my opinion. The play that cemented the game was a couple plays later was Dameon Pierce's 20-yard run. When how Dameon Pierce was out there running and trucking and moving to school. He damn near got a touchdown. But like I said, damn near got a touchdown play. He ended up getting the touchdown later on that drive. But damn near got a touchdown on that play. Like he ran over, I think like 7 people, 6-7 people. I think he had it was 8 missed tackles, or the 8th person touched him. It was the one who got the tackle. Like that's broken tackles. Like they got. It was just a beautiful hard run, something that you jump up out your seat and get crunk about because you know that you have something special when it comes to a running game. And it's just funny that 3 rookies changed the dynamic of this game. You got a rookie who swung the momentum, who swung the course of the game, and they're still getting the pick. You have another rookie making a boneheaded decision on the other side. 1, getting the offsides penalty. 1, and 2, just grabbing Davis Mills, just slinging him down, getting the unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer penalty. They extend the drive, and then 2, a rookie that basically cemented. We get you inside the 5 and on the 1 or 2 yard line, wherever it was. Now he almost fumbled the football. So that's something that's a little worrisome about Dameon Pierce. He had 2 fumbles against Chicago. He damn near fumbled the football the following drive. That's something he gets to clean up, especially as his team starts building towards the future and actually starts getting a little bit better and actually get a little bit more competitive because the Texans have been in every single game this year. So once you start once it's a better football team, like right now we won 3-1 and we're looking at trying to get a top 10, top 5, potentially number 1 overall pick. So this really doesn't mean any much. But once things change, you fix the quarterback position and head coach position, whatever else, those things will matter. And Dameon Pierce got to do a better job of holding on to football. I love what I'm seeing from Dameon Pierce. Definitely, I think he's the best player on the team, especially the offense, by far. One of the best players on the team. Like I said, Nico, the catch that Nico jumped up and made, there was another catch that Nico made when he just, like Davis Mills kind of just threaded the needle, fit in a tight window, and he was able to make it. Davis Mills made a couple good throws. It was a throw that on that last drive, he made a throw to Akins. A back shoulder throw that Akins was able to get the first down. That was a nice throw. Like I said, it was one that he actually threaded the needle into Nico. The Nico made a good catch. But like Trevor Lawrence, he has a lot of passes where he feel like he's throwing the 8-foot tall receivers. Again, Davis Mills versus Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 overall pick. Davis Mills is a 3rd round pick that more likely to get replaced. The Jags are mostly stuck with Davis Mills. The Jags are mostly stuck with Trevor Lawrence. And it's 9 straight wins for the Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars for some reason, the Jags could not defeat the Texans. Since the new millennium, since the new decade, since 2020, Texans have won 5 games. They have won 9 games. 5 of them come against Jacksonville. Now, granted, of the 9 straight losses Jacksonville has had against the Texans, 6 of those losses were quarterbacked by Deshaun Watson. To be fair, like 6 of those losses were quarterbacked by Deshaun Watson, but the last 3, you have Tyrod Taylor, and the last 2, obviously Davis Mills. And Tyrod Taylor was impressive in the one last year, season opener. Not really that much with Davis Mills the last 2, especially in this game here. Like I said, only had 140 yards. Had a lot of errant throws. Really just a very anemic offense. Just like I said, it was a bad game. If you wasn't a Texan or a Jag fan, there was no reason to watch this game. It was just like the Thursday night game against the Colts and the Broncos. Just bad football. There's no real reason to watch this game unless you have fantasy purposes, which unless you had Dameon Pierce, you really didn't get anything fancy. Maybe Travis Etienne might have got you something, But outside of those two, you really ain't getting nothing from this game from a fantasy wise. So you really didn't watch anything fantasy wise. So unless you were a Texan or a Jags fan, there was really no real reason to watch said game because it just wasn't a good football game. But was this game actually worth winning? Was it a benefit to win this game? Was it? I got a video talking about the dangers of the territory the Houston Texans might find themselves in. Do you want to give? But you never want to really give back a win. You know, you never really want to give back wins. Or like Bill O'Brien said, it's hard to win this league. It's 8-8 league. And the Texans could be 8-8 because they have the tie, so they actually could be 8-1 this year. But I don't know. Like I say, you like what you see out of Stingley, like what I see out of Nico, like what I see out of Dameon Pierce. The Texans defense played well. Held Jacksonville out of the end zone. Again, if I'm a Jags fan, I'm very much worried. The course of the Texans games, if I'm every fan base outside of the Texans, I'm worried. I was worried. I said this after the Colts game. I'm worried about the Colts. I have the Colts to win the division. I'm worried about the Colts if I'm a Colts fan. If I'm a Broncos, I'm worried about Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett. Both of those are showing true. Chicago is Chicago. Like, Chicago kind of the same boat Texans, even though they invested the first round pick in which fields, but Chicago is Chicago. They kind of feel the same way. The Chargers, they so up and down, and like I said, they had injuries, so the Chargers you could put them with an asterisk as well. But if I'm a Jags, because a couple weeks ago, the Jags might be winning this division. Now, not only do you lose to the Texans, you lose in the manner that you lose to the Texans, and Davis Mills plays pedestrian, but still shows up Trevor Lawrence. Not just in a win. He actually looked better than Trevor Lawrence. That's not saying much because I still think that Davis Mills is not a good quarterback and that he needs to be replaced. But he's still look better than Trevor Lawrence. If I'm a Jags fan, I'm concerned about Trevor Lawrence. Me personally, I'm not because I kind of seen this coming. Knew this whole once in a generation third overall grade of all time was just because the dude won the Heisman. I mean, dude won a national championship as a freshman. They overblown it. Everything was overblown. Everything was overblown. He looked like old boy from Remember the Titans. Everything's just overblown, and I just think that people bought into that hype. And Trevor Lawrence ain't really it. Like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I'll holla. Hey, I got a video coming. To show and talk about, was this the right decision to win this game? I'll holla.